It's 10 a.m. on Capitol Hill, where Attorney General Merrick Garland is set to testify before the House Judiciary Committee. It comes just weeks after the committee advanced a contempt of Congress resolution against him. Garland defied their request to turn over audio recordings from the federal probe into President Biden's handling of classified records. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News Homeland Security reporter and Justice reporter Nicole Sganga. Nicole, so explain to our viewers, what is this contempt resolution all about?
Yeah, Vlad, this hearing comes just weeks after the House Judiciary Committee voted to advance a contempt of Congress resolution against Garland. And to give our viewers a bit of context, the Attorney General had defied House Republicans' requests for audio recordings from a federal investigation into President Biden's handling of classified records. The Justice Department said it couldn't comply with that request because the president asserted executive privilege over that audio. And they added more recently, they're actually concerned that deepfakes manipulated by AI could emerge if that audio was released and then tampered with. Now, House Republicans and other outside groups believe the audio could aid them in their impeachment inquiry against Biden. Today, the first time we'll see lawmakers face off against the Attorney General since he's been held in contempt.
So how is Garland expected to respond today?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, we expect a defiant tone from the Attorney General, in many ways a doubling down on his position. We expect him to say that he won't be intimidated by lawmakers, that he's going to do his job free from political influence. And we anticipate he may acknowledge that while being held in contempt is a serious thing, what would be more serious would be handing over these recordings because he believes it might chill future investigations.
So do we expect Garland to address former President Trump's guilty verdict? The reason I asked that, Nicole, is the Department of Justice had absolutely nothing to do with what was happening in the state of New York. That is all the District Attorney Alvin Bragg here in Manhattan. But there is a narrative out there from
put forth by the former president.
Put forth by former President Donald Trump that this is Merrick Garland. And the reason I ask if he's expected to address it, I should probably ask the better question is, will Republican members of the House ask him about it? Because they're the ones who are parroting former President Trump's false allegations.
Yeah, the answer, Vlad, is yes and yes. This is the first moment Garland will likely be able to tackle head on the conspiracy theories, the insinuations you mentioned, both by President Trump himself and his supporters, that the Justice Department was somehow involved in Trump's conviction on 34 felony counts in New York State. Garland does have plans to call such accusations attacks on the judicial process itself, unprecedented, unfounded, and, will not influence the DOJ in their decision making, something Republican lawmakers are also likely to bring up, but something we know the Attorney General wants to confront during today's hearing.
But we do know one case the Department of Justice is prosecuting that would seem to go against the Republican narrative. They're prosecuting the president's son.
That's right. And we certainly do anticipate that Republican lawmakers may raise questions regarding Hunter Biden. In the past, the Attorney General has tried to push back on some of those inquiries, noting that he, is not involved in that prosecution as it plays out. We also do expect the Attorney General to bring up what's happening not only on the political stage, but on the international stage, allegations of war crimes filed in connection with Russia's offensive in Ukraine, antitrust cases brought against corporate giants. Remember that recent Ticketmaster lawsuit, as well as the Department of Justice efforts to curb violent crime. We know, of course, the ongoing conflict in Gaza has prompted an increase in threats against the U.S. That is something that some lawmakers are expected to bring up today.
Okay, so you went through a list, so it looks like it's going to be a long hearing. Nicole Sganga, thank you very much.
Thank you.